Hi, I'm Dr. Ben Newman, and this is Ask Dr. Ben, where we try to answer your questions using scientific literature. Yeah, rather than just whatever nonsense we happen to think up. Novel, huh? All right. Next question is from Patty. How you doing? Yes. Okay, just hearing about the new variant BV1 at Texas A&M. Yeah, yeah, I've heard a bit about that too. Do we know how contagious it is? We do not. So this is one of the variants that we reported. There's a BV1, BV2, and BV3. Yeah, fantastic. And I might as well stick these in a video. So why not? Why not do it here? Why not do it now? These are all released to the public in that they are uploaded to a big public database, but the scientific paper about these has not yet been accepted for publication. So it's kind of in limbo where it is public, but like the full details aren't public. So it's actually fine to talk about. Yeah, this is like our version of a video preprint, I would say. So BV1 is basically the UK variant, and it's the specific version of the UK variant that you find in this part of the world. So we were sampling from on the college campus, and it's a mix of almost all students, but a few faculty and staff. I think we were looking at the numbers, and it was about 90+% students, and the students were almost entirely of the normal college age, 18 to 24. Imagine, actually, most of them were between 18 and 21. Yeah, but you had a few, possibly graduate students or people that did something else for a year or two before college in there. Anyway, these all are found right here, and we know they exist because we got genome sequences, which is reading out all the little letters. So a coronavirus has one big long string of RNA inside, and the string has 4 different kinds of letters on it in a particular order. So it's A, C, G, and U instead of T. Yeah, that's what makes it RNA. Basically the same thing as DNA. If you're not all that familiar with either one, just picture DNA in your mind and you're going to be fine. Except that whereas DNA, you normally have those 2 strands that are twisted around each other. In RNA, you just have the 1 strand all by itself. Lonely. Very lonely. um, so the BV1 has all the mutations you would find in the local version of the B117 UK variant, which is also called 20I variant 1 if you use next strain, which I actually like. And then it has one extra mutation, which is a change in the site where the virus actually sticks to the cell. So the part of the cell that we're sticking to kind of is sort of shaped like that, like a banana. The part of the virus is like a little cup, and boop, the cup clips onto the banana, and that's how the virus attaches to the cell. And then once it's tethered, a bunch of other things happen, which eventually involve the virus getting inside. But it's neat. It's kind of complicated, and there's a lot of unfolding and refolding things. It's a lot like Transformers, if you're a really old person or someone that's familiar with this ancient subculture. Yeah. So that's BV1. BV2 is, I think, also interesting. So it's from a different background. So this is a different version of the virus. So if our BV1's over here, our BV2's from this branch way over here. And it's got a different mutation, but in that same area. So it's got a change that probably makes it resistant to antibodies and may make it better at binding. There's a study where they modeled it in a computer, and it looks as though it had possibly a little better ability to bind, like stronger affinity, I think is what they measured it as. But that's a computer model, and you've always got to confirm these things in reality before you can really believe anything. So yeah, grain of salt there. But yeah, that's one that we found, and that mutation is known, as is the BV1 mutation, but they're occurring on a new background. So like the virus, some SARS coronavirus 2 out there has changed in this way before, just not this particular one. And that one we found 3 of on campus. And so we're thinking that that one's probably one that is definitely circulating in the area. And yeah, remains to be seen. A similar mutant with that particular change, but on a different background, is gaining ground in Mexico and Texas right now, and so we think that ours may be as well. We're waiting for the next batch of results to come in so that we can then say for sure, oh yeah, look, there are more of them now and there were fewer of them before, so it's gaining market share, which means it's potentially more infectious or better able to spread. There's a BV3 out there as well. That is an older one. It's actually from early February, if I remember right, whereas these others are from March. And the early February virus is a recombinant. So it has part of the UK variant embedded in a different variant that you find very commonly in this area and that is also spreading really well. Yeah. And so the question is this thing, did it pick up enough from the UK to make it go faster? Because we know the UK variant spreads really fast compared to some of the others. And again, from reading out the sequence, you can say, here it is. It was associated with this particular case. And you can't say a lot more than that. There would be other experiments that you'd have to do afterward. Like you can make little competitions. And that's actually a good way to tell which virus is faster. So you give them a certain number of cells they can infect. You put a few viruses in, and they'll each start out in maybe the same number of cells, but one will go it'll go in faster, may come out faster, and then it may get to the next cell and get into that one faster. And so over time, if you do this a few times, you can end up with a lot of one virus and pretty much none of the other virus. And that tells you that the one has a fitness advantage, which is probably just, it's about speed and real estate. That's the best way I've heard it described. Yeah, so that's all we know right now about these particular variants. Now, chances are, unless you live in one of a very few places in the world, there's probably COVID-19 going on around you, and there's probably not a lot of sequencing going on around you, because that's very much the usual case. And so probably if there's no sequencing being done, or not much, there will be interesting little beasties out there, different variants of the virus, and sequencing is the only way that we actually know these things exist for sure. For the ordinary test, it's just confirming that you have one of these things. Can't even tell you if it's a variant or not in most cases. So yeah, the test is just like a yes/no, and really we want to know exactly what's going on. We want to know which variant there is out there and what it's doing. I would say the other last thing from this particular report is that it covers 7 weeks on campus, and they're from the end of January through kind of the middle of March. And during that time, we go from just the beginning of the UK variant expansion. So we're at about 30% of the cases showing up at the beginning. And by the time we're at the end, I think it is well over 80% of the cases we're picking up are UK variant, and it's a nice steady increase. This thing is just absolutely spreading like wildfire. No, it's spreading like COVID. Yeah, that's what it's doing, very literally. Yeah. So there we go. Thanks very much. And yeah, stay safe out there. I would say that's a good reason to possibly still wear a mask, just because everybody is basing their calculations on, well, if I get COVID, it won't be bad. But the thing is, they're thinking of the old strains of the virus from a year ago, which were still plenty bad. They're not thinking that they will run into one of these variants, because variant, that seems like it'll be rare, when actually the variants are, in at least some places, overwhelmingly, that is the one that you are likely to run into. And so that's a good reason to take a little extra precaution until the actual case numbers go down. That's the symbol that we can relax. It's not one of these other things. It's when there's no more cases, then it's going to be okay. Yeah. I know, it seems obvious, right? But here we are again. Thanks very much. This has been Ask Dr. Ben.